York's classic rock, Q1043.
Bloody hell, here we are.
That's a fancy looking microphone that you've got there.
Oh shit. Well, this is where I, you know, make demos and things.
Create the magic. You know, this seems like as the late great American baseball star Yogi Berra said, this feels kind of like deja vu all over again, because it was 2 years and about 4 months ago when we sat in the room that I'm sitting in right now.
Right.
And you were filled with excitement as we were talking about the impending This Is Not a Drill tour.
Right.
Talking about how different this new tour was going to be from anything that you've ever done before. And we were all excited about the tickets going on sale, and you were getting ready to go on the road. And here it is. Here it is 2 years and
however long.
4 months later, 5 months later.
Yeah.
That must have been, besides the fact that the world was turned upside down, a crushing disappointment to you. You put so much work and energy and hope into it.
Yeah. Well, that was only half of it. We've had another 2 years and 4 months. So it's changed considerably since then, as the skies have darkened considerably since then. And I'm not talking about COVID. COVID obviously has been a terrible disaster for all our brothers and sisters all over the world, not least obviously in the United States of America and the UK, two of the countries that have dealt worst with dealing with the COVID epidemic. But let's not go there. But here we are now, rattling sabers at Russia in a way that may well, I mean, I shouldn't say may well, because one has to be optimistic if one possibly can retain any optimism, and say that this may not end in the final conflagration and the destruction of this beautiful planet that we call home. But it very well may, because we are so ill-led. Putin and Biden are of the same, they come from the same mold. They are mind-numbed, thoughtless people who can't look at the larger picture and don't. Anyway, you started me, but I'm going to stop now, Jim, because I've got many things to say.
Well, that's true. But, you know, as an artist,
Yeah.
you have been inspired by your passion
Yep.
for those things that you believe very strongly about. So without what we just heard, without you expressing what you were feeling at the moment, you would not be the artist that people all over the world admire.
That is true. Yeah, that is very true. And I can't tell you how much the love I get every day through the ether, but also the odd person who goes, yeah, it is, and on the street just says, hey, thank you for the music. Thank you for the songs. Thank you for the thoughts. Thank you for this and that and the other. And I would say, thank you, brother or sister. I really appreciate it. I really do. It's super important.
Well, This Is Not a Drill begins with your performance tonight in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
It does.
And it has been described as being different from any other Roger Waters or Pink Floyd production than anybody has ever seen. For one thing, it's in the round.
Yeah, that's new, completely new. And that is the same fundamentally as the plan that we had back in 2020. Sean Evans and Jeremy Lloyd have come up with this, great set to work in the round. Probably, I don't know where the idea came from. I'm certain it didn't come from me, but I may be wrong. And it's really exciting, as people tonight here in Pittsburgh will see, and elsewhere when we take it elsewhere.
Well, it fundamentally changes your physical proximity to the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not only going to look different to them, it's going to look different to you on the stage.
Yes, it is. And there is the central motif in the middle of the arena is a crucifix-shaped stage, except it's symmetrical. So it's not taller than it is wide, like the crucifix that we all remember from the Bible. And so that's the shape of the stage. And on this stage, there is a monolith of LED screens built in the shape of a three-dimensional cross, but it's 20 feet high and however many 100 feet it is lengthwise and however many feet it is. So it's an enormous edifice. And Sean Evans and I and Andy Jennison and Megan, a small team of it, plus many others coming in, have spent the last couple of years working on the content of the images and the words and the message and the love that will appear upon that monolith during the couple of hours or so that we're on stage.
When you decided, Roger, from your vast catalog, what compositions you were going to include in this particular production, was that something that you did in a solitary way, or did you collaborate with others?
No, I don't. No, it's not. I don't do that in a vacuum. I collaborated mainly with Sean and my co-workers, the people I'm working with on the content of the thing, and discuss it. Also, I am under a huge amount of pressure from the promoters of the show, who this year, like the whole Us and Them tour, are AEG, who understandably might have a slightly different agenda than I do. And so they are constantly trying to put my thumb harder and harder on the Pink Floyd button. And I'm constantly trying to move my thumb off the Pink Floyd button onto this is how I feel about my brothers and sisters all over the world. And we have to act collectively to stop our appalling cretinous leaders from destroying the world. My thumb is always drifting over to that button. So we arrive at a compromise. And that's not to say that there's not a lot of the love for humanity in the work I did when I was with Pink Floyd. There is. That's why we still do Us and Them, and that's why we still do Eclipse and Brain Damage and a lot of the old faithfuls and Wish You Were Here. And so there's a lot of Pink Floyd stuff in the show.
I think it in a strange way, it makes you easier to identify with, because let's be honest, you're a mega successful, world-known, world-acclaimed, rather, I would assume, affluent artist. And people do sometimes fantasize about the kind of life that you have to live. And to hear that you have to go through meetings where you're sitting across from what would be the equivalent of our bosses in everyday life and try to hash everything out, makes you more relatable than one would expect a person in your position to be. I think all of us can understand what that's like.
Before you go any further down this road, in case any of this leaks out to my friends and colleagues at AEG, let's not confuse them with bosses, Jim.
I didn't. I was very careful in what I said. I said a situation that some of us could identify as if we were sitting with our bosses. I say these things, you know, very
to some
carefully.
Extent, let's be fair as to who my bosses are. My bosses are those people sitting out there in the seats, but by and large. All right, they don't always agree with everything that I have to say, but they're in the arena because they know what my work is and they like it, and to some extent they're in consort with it, and that we agree on a number of things, and in consequence there is a lot of love in the room. And there is, and it is that communion that I have missed these last few years, not being able to be on a stage with my audience. But they are the one, they have paid the money to get their bums on those seats. So it's them who I'm working for. I'm under no illusions about that.
The solo work or post Pink Floyd work that you are including in the concerts, do they include, say, work from your most recent album?
Yeah. Yes, they do. And they include work that I've done, songs that I've written since the most recent album. I mean,
so there will be some music that's brand new, never before heard, that will be a part of the show.
Yeah, exactly. There's one very long song that I wrote during the COVID lockdown. As I'm sure you know, but some of your listeners might not. During the 2 years of COVID lockdown, my band and I together made new versions of a number of songs. And the beginning of the process was doing songs that we had done during the Us and Them tour as encores. So we started with Mother, but we went on, and we did, and they're beautiful recordings. I really like them. I have no doubt that some of them that it will be an album at some point. Anyway, what are we doing in this show from those? Two Suns in the Sunset is a very important song. That's not new, obviously. That's from the final cut from Pink Floyd. But Is This the Life We Really Want? The title track from that album. We're doing that song. That's the first time it will ever be performed. There's a brand new song called The Bar. It's 14 minutes long. We're not doing 14 minutes. I'm doing little bits of it just as a flavor, just because there's some parts of it that I really wanted to do. And because I'm gonna do something weird now. I'm gonna move that over there. That's you. And I'm going to go here because I've got something up in front of me here that I'm going to refer to. I think I have anyway. Yeah. I've written, one of the things I've done is during all of this is I wrote something in final draft, which is of film industry writing. And this is what I wrote, because this will be the point in the show where I speak to the audience for the first time. And it's just after I sing a song called The Bravery of Being Out of Range, which again, we remember from Pink Floyd days. And I'll just read you what I've written. It's probably not what I'll say. And this is it. I wrote this. I wrote, wow, welcome. Here we are, finally. Fuck, it's good to be here. Right, I need to clear something up. I'm about to do a short excerpt from a new song I wrote during COVID lockdown. This new song is called The Bar. We are all here in the bar now. The bar for tonight is this arena where we gather. And by we, I mean all those of us. I'll sound a bit preachy now, but I don't care. I mean all those of us who actually, really, genuinely cross our hearts and hope to die, believe in human rights and freedom and equality and democracy for all our brothers and sisters all over the world, irrespective of their ethnicity or nationality or race or politics or religion. Okay, ... And it goes on. But I'm glad that I wrote that down, although it sounds a bit pedantic and direct. I may use that text. I may say exactly that every night.
Well,
that's really
being in a bar, at least my experience, and I like to go to the bar. I like it because of its conviviality. I like it because it brings a lot of people together. I like it because of the entire community aspect of the bar. I wouldn't want to just sit there by myself. I like that feeling of community that one gets when they go into a bar.
Well, you've hit the nail on the head, Jim. Community. You've hit the nail on the head. If my show, This Is Not a Drill, encourages us all to nurture that feeling, our desire to feel that sense of community across the borders that are created by politics and international borders and nations and blah, 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 then I will have done my job on this tour, because that is the most important thing I will ever have done in my life, is to nail my heart and my colors to that cross.
Well, tonight, July 6th, a community will gather together in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to see the opening performance of This Is Not a Drill. You will be traveling all over the United States and Canada for these next several months. The closing night will be October 8th in Dallas, Texas. You will be stopping all over the place. I mean, have you been to all of these cities before, or will some of them be, new
Probably.
to you?
Probably. I'm just going to quote a line from the song because it goes like this. And I won't tell you who it's sung to or whatever, but it goes, "Come on in here, sister, and set a spell. You are most welcome in the bar. We may seem few, but we are many. Have you been traveling far?" It's just the first couplet of the song, but it's very apposite for the situation that we will all find ourselves in every city on this tour when we do this show.
Well, I know I can't wait to hear it, and I know your friends all over North America and the world can't wait to hear it. This is not a drill. It is opening night. It is Roger Waters. There are still some tickets for the tour available, by the way. And we have, of course, rogerwaters.com for the website. We have facebook.com/Roger Waters for Facebook, twitter.com/Roger Waters. And by the way, my favorite, I mean, there were so many great scenes, but my favorite scene in Roger Waters' The Wall was that beautiful bar.
Oh God, with Peter Medak.
Yes.
In France.
Yes, that was just I don't know what it was about that scene, but it just drew me in.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It certainly
Gaston,
was.
or whatever the waiter's name was. I can't remember.
Oh, it's so nice to speak with you again.
And you, sir.
And good luck to you. I mean, I remember you were here in this room. You were so excited about starting on this tour over 2 years ago. Yeah. I'm glad that I mean, I'm sure there's a pent up feeling of excitement on the part of your fans who are looking forward to seeing you, but there has to be a lot of pent up energy inside of you that can't wait to get back on that stage.
There is this huge amount of pent up energy inside of me and inside of everyone else in the band. We've been rehearsing for a couple of weeks now, and this is a great band, and there's a great feeling in the band, and it is waiting to burst out.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll end it with that, Roger. Right, it's always great to see you, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.